suspect in an attempted abduction at Beans Bottom in November started yesterday. We'll give you an unexpected development in the case.
A refugee family arrived in Lexington last week. John Tompkins takes a look at how the family has adjusted to the area.
Buena Vista is battling a trash problem. Abby Thornton gives us a report on how the city and residents are addressing this issue.
And later, reporter Kylie Sapp takes a look at what Lexington Public Works is doing to repair the city's bumpy roads. All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Thanks for joining us on today's Rockbridge Report. I'm Kate Boswell.
And I'm Avigna Pentola. An Amherst woman could face life in prison after pleading guilty to charges of conspiracy and abduction with intent to defile. Alicia George's jury trial began yesterday at the Rockbridge Circuit Court, but it ended in her pleading guilty to the charges. George was allegedly working with her boyfriend to execute the abduction. The victim, Rockbridge County resident Elizabeth Pringle, gave her testimony yesterday at the court. George's sentencing is scheduled for June 14th. George's boyfriend is currently in Rockbridge County Jail awaiting an April trial.
On Wednesday, President Barack Obama announced the appointment of Merrick Garland to fill the seat on the Supreme Court left vacant by the death of Antonin Scalia. Garland is currently the Chief Judge of the U.S. Supreme Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. CNN's Pamela Brown has the story.
Today I am nominating Chief Judge Merrick Brian Garland to join the Supreme Court.
President Obama today made his case for 63-year-old Merrick Garland, Chief Judge for the D.C. Appeals Court.
I've selected a nominee who is widely recognized not only as one of America's sharpest legal minds, but someone who brings to his work a spirit of decency, modesty, integrity, even-handedness, and excellence.
An emotional Judge Garland, with his family looking on, introduced himself to the nation.
President, this is the greatest honor of my life, other than Lynn agreeing to marry me 28 years ago.
The White House touts Judge Garland as having more federal judicial experience than any nominee in history, serving nearly 2 decades on the bench. Before that, he prosecuted Timothy McVeigh in the Oklahoma City bombing case.
A Ryder truck was seen there.
The president considers the Chicago native and Harvard Law graduate a consensus nominee. He was appointed to the D.C. Appeals Court by President Bill Clinton in 1997 and confirmed by a 76-23 Senate vote with bipartisan supporters, including Republican Orrin Hatch.
Based solely on his qualifications, I support the nomination of Mr. Garland, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same.
The ball now is in the Republicans' court, and they vow Judge Garland will not get a hearing.
It is the Senate's constitutional right to act as a check on a president and withhold its consent.
But Democrats aren't backing down.
If Merrick Garland can't get bipartisan support, then nobody can.
For Garland, this day is especially poignant, having been passed over twice before for a seat on the High Court.
Mr. President, it's a great privilege to be nominated by a fellow Chicagoan. I am grateful beyond words for the honor you have bestowed upon me. Thank you.
The GOP has been against appointing a new judge, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is refusing to meet with Garland.
We reported last week that a refugee family had just arrived in Lexington. John Tompkins looks at how the family has adjusted during its first week in America.
After enduring over a 24-hour flight delay, a sandstorm, and the temporary loss of every piece of their luggage, Lexington's newest residents are finally home. More than 80 Rockbridge area locals came to welcome and learn more about their newest neighbors, a family of 8 Congolese refugees, at an informational meeting at Lilburn Downing Middle School last Tuesday night.
Part of the effort of the meeting last night was to learn a little bit about what has gone on in the Congo and in Central Africa over the last 50 years, really, that has resulted in so many people having to flee that country.
The Refugee Working Group, an interfaith coalition that's been organizing to bring refugees to Rockbridge County since last fall, originally did not expect to resettle any families until later this spring. The quick arrival of Fahizi, his wife Janie, and their 6 children had many working group volunteers as well as city officials working overtime last week to prepare for the newcomers.
We fortunately already had teams in place to do things like find furniture, find household items such as towels and linens and kitchen utensils.
The family will reside in a 4-bedroom home located in central Lexington. Members of Washington and Lee University's ESOL program will help the group learn English, and the children, who range in age from 2 to 13, will soon be assimilated into the city's public school system.
And so we think the priority needs to be, let's just get them acclimated to our environment, acclimated to our city, acclimated to our schools, and then from there, once they feel comfortable, once they feel safe, we really like our chances of tapping into that and making sure that we offer them the curriculum that the rest of our students are being offered.
But while Rockbridge County may seem like an unusual place for a young family of African refugees to plant their roots, Fahizi says that he and his family are just excited to finally be here.
Je suis très joyeux de l'atmosphère que j'ai rencontrée. Je suis aussi joyeux des gens qui m'ont accueilli. Vraiment, l'accueil a été chaleureuse.
For the Rockbridge Report, I'm John Tompkins.
The Refugee Working Group expects more refugees to move to the area in the coming months.
Italian car parts manufacturer Eldor Corporation will build a new factory in Botetourt County, bringing as many as 350 jobs to the area. The $75 million production plant will be the largest economic investment in Botetourt County history. The factory will be built on a new industrial site that won state funding, but required the controversial removal of historic slave quarters from a former antebellum plantation. Rockbridge County Administrator Spencer Suter said that the plant may provide employment to some people in Rockbridge County, but the impact on Rockbridge will be minimal.
North Korea's Supreme Court sentenced an American tourist yesterday to 15 years in prison with hard labor. The 21-year-old UVA student Otto Warmbier allegedly attempted to steal a propaganda banner from a restricted area of his hotel. Before his trial, he said he tried to steal a banner for an acquaintance who wanted to hang it in her church. The U.S. government condemned the sentence and accused North Korea of using such American detainees as political pawns. UVA did not comment on the ruling.
Lexington police are still investigating a vandalism incident at Washington and Lee University. 2 weeks ago, a male student allegedly spray-painted derogatory comments about another student's sexual orientation on the side of a building and on several cars in the area. The university submitted a formal complaint to the Lexington police following the incident, according to the university's Dean of Student Affairs. The student has not been named, but has withdrawn from the university. It is now up to the police department to decide if criminal charges can be brought against the former student.
Buena Vista is cracking down on trash. City officials are considering fining residents who leave their garbage cans on the street in between pickup days, and Abby Thornton tells us more.
Buena Vista citizens agree the city has never been one to pick up after itself. In a town that prides itself on its picturesque setting at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains, many citizens lament the fact that trash and debris litter a lot of its city streets.
You know, it's not a real pretty city. We've always had trash.
This citizen, who owns a cattle farm near Glenmary Park, says that much of the litter where he lives comes from haul trucks going to and from a nearby quarry. But Councilman Steve Baldridge says that in town, the problem is that many homeowners ignore a city ordinance requiring trash cans to stay at least 25 feet from the road.
They leave their trash cans right out at the edge. And because of that, then dogs get into them and they tear bags and that kind of thing. So we really have been wrestling for the last few years. How can we get people to do what's already written in the ordinance?
Baldridge says that if the problem persists, the city will have to start fining homeowners who violate the ordinance. But in the meantime, the city is trying to tidy up the trails in Glenmary Park to prepare for an outdoor festival that will be held there in May. and it has recruited the help of the high school soccer team to do this. Kristen Jones, whose son Jake is on the team, says that the effort was just one of many projects that the group did last week.
So some of our projects this week were we worked at the BV Community Garden, cleaning up the garden beds. What we did is we contacted the city and asked how we could help. How can the boys and girls soccer team help? And this is what they chose to do.
Thanks to the efforts of the soccer team, the trail behind me is now spick and span, and Baldridge says that it's community efforts like these that really make a difference. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Abby Thornton.
Next on the Rockbridge Report, the construction at a local elementary school is behind schedule. We will tell you when it is now expected to be complete.
It's a beautiful day here at Washington and Lee University, but there is a chance of snow coming up this weekend. More on your weekly weather forecast coming up next.
And later, one local university is working to attract more students. We'll tell you what it's doing to diversify its curriculum.
Jimmy can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time. Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
Welcome back. The Lexington City School Board said Monday that construction of Waddell Elementary School will not be completed by May as originally expected. Now the project is expected to be completed at the end of August. This is about 3 weeks after the start of the new school year. Students will stay in the modular classrooms at Leyburn Downing Middle School, where they have been throughout the project. They will move into the new school over the Labor Day weekend. Superintendent Scott Jeffrey said the delay is attributed to the snow this winter.
We've enjoyed a really nice stretch of sunshine and warm weather, but Faith, do I hear there's a chance of snow this weekend? That's pretty hard to believe.
It really is. You know, today we are breaking records with our high temperatures today, and yet we can expect to see some snow coming up on Saturday evening. It's a really funny thing. So today in Lexington, we have a high of 68 degrees and a low of 42 degrees. As I said, the 68 degrees is record breaking. In 2012, we had 64 degrees, but that's the highest we've ever gotten. So today we are making history on this St. Patrick's Day of 2016. So looking at our regional temperatures, Lexington is staying very similar to the rest of the region. In Stanton, as well as Buena Vista, and up in Charlottesville, the Charlottesville-Stanton region up north, all about 68 degrees, fair skies up there. And then over in Covington, over here, we have 55 degrees, pretty typical in the mountains to have cooler temperatures over there. So fair skies all across Virginia. We're having a beautiful day. And as our satellites are showing us, there's very little wind movement happening at all. There's a slight breeze happening in Lexington today, but Very nice skies, nothing to complain about. It's very comfortable. So we have one more day of beautiful weather that's happening tomorrow before we get into really nasty weather on Saturday and Sunday. So on Friday, we have sunny skies with the high of in the 50s. And then that comes down for Saturday. We have 40% chance of rain that day. And that will happen all throughout the day. The rain going up to 70% chance Saturday evening, overnight into Sunday morning. So we'll have a mixture of rain and snow Saturday evening going into Sunday. But on Sunday, that should taper off. We'll have a high in the 40s on Sunday. It should be, the precipitation should end in the evening about 8 p.m. that Sunday evening. Now, on Monday, we can expect the clouds to clear up a bit to sunny skies, and it'll just go up into Tuesday, the temperatures in the 50s. So the beautiful weather that we've enjoyed the last couple weeks has reached its peak. It seems we are coming back down to a more typical March weather in the spring, and we can expect it to go back to sunnier skies next week after some possible snow this weekend. So I'm Faith Pinu. That's your weekly weather forecast. Back to you, Kate and Abby.
Thanks, Faith. Looks like winter won't go away. Meanwhile, winter weather has taken its toll on local roads. Kylie Sapp takes a look at what the city of Lexington is planning to do in the next few years to fix its 60 miles of pavement.
Taylor Street is littered with gravel after Public Works patched some of the worst parts of the road. Director of Public Works Mike Kennedy said the patching is only temporary and is part of a bigger plan to resurface many of the roads in Lexington.
Many of the streets in the city, and we have about 60 lane miles of roads in the city, are in need of resurfacing. And we've not been able in the past to put sufficient funds in to keep up with it.
Kennedy said that the quality of the pavement isn't the only thing the city has to take into consideration when deciding which roads to fix first.
I want to resurface a street and then come back a year or 2 or even 3 years later and then have to completely tear the street up to put in a new water line or replace sewer lines.
But some streets, he said, are so bad that they need to be repaved before the water lines can be replaced.
As I say, it's challenging because we may not have enough money to do both the utilities and repave the street and within the time frame.
The road repairs alone will cost upwards of $2 million, while sewage and water repairs will cost around $38 million. Many Lexington residents feel that it is time for the city to do something about the poor state of the roads.
I think it needs to be fixed because it's hard on your car and it makes it out of line, and then you have to go spend all that money and then it's back again when you hit a hole again. So.
Kennedy hopes to have a solid plan within the next several months. The repairs will happen gradually over the next 15 to 20 years. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Kylie Sapp.
Kennedy said the money from this will come partially from Lexington taxpayers and partially from REDOT, which has a program that will match funds provided by the city.
Coming up, we'll tell you about upcoming changes to your local YMCA. And later, Lindsay Castleberry takes a look at the reopening of one local diner.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books.
No more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%. So help us do more good this year. Go to unitedway.org because great things happen when we live united.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Southern Virginia University is working to expand its student body. This process has involved building new dormitories and athletic facilities. But now the school is starting to expand its curriculum by adding psychology and math majors to appeal to a greater number of students. Barbara Bent has more.
SVU is on a mission to grow. Adding majors is one way to attract new students and hold on to the ones they have.
We have had students who had to leave because they wanted to be mathematics majors. And so they would stay here for 2 years because they liked the small class sizes, they liked the intimate environment of the university. And they had to go on and go to bigger schools where they had a math major.
Aside from a math major, students expressed interest in a psychology major, which they can declare this fall.
When I was talking to students and I mentioned that I had a doctorate in psychology, I found that afterwards several people came up and said, "You have a background in psychology. Any way we could have a psychology major here?"
I come from a unique position from admissions where I see the student demand, what they're asking for, and there's been a lot of demand for psychology for quite a while now.
But broadening the course catalog is not the only way in which the university is looking to expand.
We're very close to announcing that track and field will become one of our intercollegiate teams this coming fall. So we're already starting to get word out that that will be a part of Southern Virginia's athletic offerings.
The construction of a track and field area on campus could take place in the future, but for now, Virginia Military Institute has granted permission for SVU to use its new indoor training facilities. The school currently has around 700 students.
We're anticipating getting up to 1,200 to 1,400 over the next few years, and that's kind of where we need to be. There's a lot of interest. It's just a matter of communicating that to our target.
For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Barbara Bent.
Leyburn Downing Middle School is planning to install solar panels on its roof this summer. The school is joining an initiative for schools sponsored by a company called Secure Future. The program pays for the entire project and then sells the energy produced back to the school at a reduced rate. The solar array will have 295 panels and produce enough electricity to power 10 households. The project will save the division about $5,000 each year. It is expected to be completed by August.
Rockbridge Regional Jail Superintendent John Higgins said close to half of the county's 1,500 businesses have employed inmates through Virginia's work release program. The Virginia Department of Corrections website says work release provides inmates opportunities for supervised and gradual reintegration into the community. Higgins said there are about 20 inmates currently involved in the work release program, which is projected to generate over $70,000 this year.
The Rockbridge area YMCA will be merging with the Roanoke Valley Y in July. The Rockbridge YMCA is known in the community for its health and wellness programs for older adults and after-school programs for local students. The Rockbridge Y brought in more than $700,000 in 2014, and Executive Director Allison Raymond said the merger will help provide the local Y and its members more resources. Raymond is retiring from the Rockbridge YMCA in June.
March is a big month in sports. When we come back, we'll tell you about developments at one local field and about basketball fans' favorite time of the year.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Bye, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
He's on his way. He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay. Laura. Okay, try to call him again. There's no signal. Try. Nothing's working. Well, just Everything's down. This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
Rockbridge County's youth baseball is in full swing this week. The Rockbridge Area Recreation Organization, or RARO, will build new practice fields at the Brew Baker Field Annex to deal with increased demand for practice space. The renovations will include a baseball diamond, a chain link fence, and a field for soccer or lacrosse. The project will cost around $180,000 to complete. RARO Executive Director John Trudgeon says the construction will begin as soon as funds are raised. But the field will not be in use until fall of 2017.
Today is St. Patrick's Day, but sports fans are calling today a holiday for other reasons. Asher's here with sports. Asher?
Thanks, Kate. Today's the official start of March Madness with 48 men's basketball this weekend and plenty more leading us to the Final Four in NCAA National Championship on April 4th. President Obama got in on the action of filling out his bracket, and we take a quick look at who he sees winning it all.
Kansas against Texas A&M. These are two schools that used to be in the same conference before A&M went to the SEC. Who do you have?
I'm going with Kansas.
Carolina, Michigan State. That would be a big, big-time game.
Tough one, but I'm going to go with UNC. Bill Self owes me. I'm putting Kansas in here. Coach, I'm just teasing. I'm not putting pressure on you.
Obama picked UNC as the champion in his first presidential bracket in 2009 in his only correct prediction so far during his presidency. Moving on to the NFL, the league acknowledged for the first time this week that there is a link between football and the devastating brain disease known as CTE. The NFL refused to connect the game and the brain disease as recently as the Super Bowl, but the NFL's senior vice president for health and safety, Jeff Miller, admitted there was a connection between the two at a congressional panel. A league spokesman backed Miller's comments. The NFL is currently working to reach a settlement that could resolve thousands of lawsuits and result in the league allocating $1 billion to settle concussion claims of more than 20,000 former NFL players. In local sports, all 3 local college baseball teams have been in action this week. W&L took on SVU on Tuesday and Shenandoah Wednesday. Generals third baseman Ryan Weston hit a home run for the Generals Tuesday in their 6-1 win over the Knights. But yesterday, W&L could not overcome a 3-run first inning by the Hornets. The Generals lost 5-1. That's all for sports. Back to you, Kate Nabigna.
Thanks, Asher. Well, I hope everyone's having a very fun March Madness. A landmark restaurant in Natural Bridge is back in business. The Pink Cadillac reopened its doors in February with new owners. They hope to lure in more customers and new ice cream parlor. Lindsay Castleberry has the story.
Elvis fans and foodies in the area were all shook up when the Pink Cadillac Diner in Natural Bridge closed earlier this year. But the good times can continue once again at the nostalgia-themed eatery, which reopened under new ownership last month.
We had a good February. We're just working hard to get the word of mouth out, let people know that
hey, the pink Cadillac, it's different now than it was before. Not that there was anything bad with the way it was before, but it's just changed enough to be different. Come out and give it a shot.
Brian Torrance was the manager before he and his wife Teresa purchased the diner in early February. The couple made a quick turnaround, expanding the ice cream parlor to 24 flavors in just 2 weeks. They now have plans to reintroduce popular menu items and add outdoor seating and live music before tourist season begins. Customers say they are glad to see the diner hasn't changed much.
I think the food is nice and the prices are reasonable, and I like it.
The diner has served tourists and locals for over 25 years. Despite closing several times, it has survived thanks to its location right off of I-81 and lack of competition in the area. Torrance said he hopes his experience in the restaurant industry will help bring even more success to the pink Cadillac.
We're working very hard to make sure that the food is always good, always hot, always a great value, and that takes care of a lot of everything.
It looks like it won't be the last farewell for this diner, which features American comfort food, 1950s decor, and of course, a pink Cadillac out front. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Lindsay Castleberry.
That's all for today's Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.